Everyone loves the first day of school, right? New year, new classes, new friends. It's a day full of potential and hope before all dreary depressions of reality show up and ruin all the fun. I like the first day of school for a different reason though. You see, I have sort of power. When I look at people, I can sense an aura around them, a colored outline based on how long that person has to live. Most everyone I meet around my age is surrounded by a solid green hue, which means they have plenty of time left. A fair amount of them have a yellow-orange tinge to their aura, which tends to mean a car crash or some other tragedy. Anything that takes people before their time, as they say. The real is the real fun is where the auras ventures into the red end of the spectrum, though every now and then I'll see someone who's basically a walking stoplight. Those are the only ones who get murdered and kill themselves. It's such a rush to see them and know their time is numbered. With that in mind, I always get to class very early so I can scout out my new classmates' fates. The first kid who walked in was basically radiating red. I chuckled to myself, too bad, bro. But as people kept walking in, they all had the same intense glow. I finally caught a glimpse of my rose-tinted reflection in the window, but I was too stunned to move. A professor stepped in and locked on the door. His aura is a sickening shade of green. It has been said that the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. I understand the sentiment behind the saying, but it's wrong. I entered the building on a bet. I was strapped for cash and didn't buy into the old legends of the hotel to begin with, so $50 was more than enough to get me to do it. It was simple. Just reach the top floor, the 45th floor, shine my flashlight from a window. The hotel was old and broken, including the elevator, so that meant hiking up the stairs. So up the stairs I went. As I reached each platform, I noted the old brass plaques displaying on the floor. Numbers 15, 16, 17, 18. I felt a little tired as I crept higher, but so far, no ghosts, no cannibals, no demons. Piece of cake. I can't tell you how happy I was as I entered the last stretch of numbers. I joyfully counted them aloud at each platform. 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 44. I stopped and looked back down the stairs. I must have miscounted. So I continued up. 44. One more flight. 44. And then down 10 flights. 44. 15 flights. 44. And so it's been for as long as I can remember. So really, insanity isn't doing something repeatedly and expecting different results. It's knowing that the results will never change. That each door leads to the same staircase, to the same number. It's realizing you will no longer fall asleep. It's knowing whether you've been running for days or weeks or years. It's when the sobbing slowly turns into laughter. He had been given a watch on his 10th birthday. It was an ordinary gray plastic wristwatch in every aspect, except for the fact that it was counting down. That is all the time you have in the world, son. Use it wisely. And indeed he did. As the watch ticked away, the boy, now a man, lived life to the fullest. He climbed mountains, swam oceans. He talked and laughed and lived and loved. The man was never afraid, for he knew exactly how much time he had left. Eventually, the watch began its final countdown. The old man stood looking over everything he had done, everything he had built. 5. He shook hands with his old business partner, the man who had long been his friend and confidant. 4. His dog came and licked his hand, earning a pat on the head for its companionship. 3. He hugged his son, knowing he had been a good father. 2. He kissed his wife on the forehead one last time. 1. The old man smiled and closed his eyes. Then, nothing happened. The watch beeped once and turned off. The man stood standing there, very much alive. You would think that in the moment he would have been overjoyed. Instead, for the first time in his life, the man was scared. My sister Betsy and I were kids. Our family lived for a while in an old charming farmhouse. We loved exploring its dusty corners and climbing the apple tree in the backyard. But our favorite thing was the ghost. We called her Mother because she seemed so kind and nurturing. Some mornings, Betsy and I would wake up, and on each of our nightstand, we'd find a cup that hadn't been there the night before. Mother had left them there, worried that we'd get thirsty in the night. She just wanted to take care of us. Among the house's original furnishing was an antique wooden chair, which she kept against the back wall of the living room. Whenever we were preoccupied, watching TV or playing a game, Mother would inch that chair forward across the room towards us. Sometimes she managed to move all the way to the center of the room. We always felt sad putting it against the wall. Mother just wanted to be near us. Years later, long after we moved out, I found an old newspaper article about the farmhouse original occupant, a widow. She'd murdered her 2 children by giving them each cup of poisoned milk before bed. Then she hanged herself. The article included a photo of the farmhouse's living room with a woman's body hanging from a beam. Beneath her, knocked over, was that old wooden chair, placed exactly in the center of the room.